tad abhavat sanyoga abhavaha. So that means, so tat here avidya. So avidya abhavat, in the absence of avidya, the ignorance. Sanyoga abhavaha. So that means, we say very nicely that once there is no ignorance, definitely the family of ignorance will not be there either. So what are the family? Mainly karyam ityartha. So all sort of karya, because from avidya we have seen in details asmita, then comes all other things starts following, then finally it comes to karyam. Then karya, the karma will bring karma phala, again that will get into avidya mode. So while discussing this, very beautifully says that when avidya is not there, in the absence of avidya, so there is nothing called absence of avidya, that we have to understand very carefully. It's like you cannot say that absence of darkness. Is there anything called absence of darkness? That statement itself is very funny. Can you make out? It is not absence of darkness. It is presence of light. So the presence of light is absence of darkness. But sometimes in our methodology of teaching, we use this absence of light, absence of darkness, avidya abhava, because here we are very much comfortable, fond of, attached with avidya. Because we are not attached to darkness. We are attached to the object that is in the presence of, or that is visible, better language, that is visible in the presence of light. So because we are very much attached to avidya, now here is being highlighted in the negative sense, absence of avidya. But in reality, that means it is not absence of avidya, it is understanding of one's own self, chid shakti, that chid vastu jnanam. So when this chid vastu jnanam is there in me, automatically avidya abhava. And once that happens, what will happen? So it says beautifully, sanyoga abhava takes place. Then what happens? Because of that reason, now slowly all other things gets dropped. Hanam ityartha. So that means, if we see very carefully, that once avidya, the ignorance, becoming weaker, forget about in the absence of avidya. When the avidya granthi, the nut of avidya, becomes weaker, automatically things get dropped. What we called as, we grow out of it. And while discussing that, also it's being highlighted here, that tad drushehe kaivalyam iti. So that means, tad drushehe means what? That means drashtu swarupasya darshanat eva. That mean as drashta. So when the vision of seer, the understanding of me as the drashta, so which is being talked in 13th chapter as kshetrajna. So, me as kshetrajna, not kshetra ityartha. So, those who are attending 13th chapter, they can relate carefully. That's why tadvidaha in the second verse. Tadvidaha. So, tadvida means there is what? Tadvida means the one kshetrajna vidaha. So, the one who knows that the conscious principle because of which all kshetras, means all objective world is being experienced. So the one who knows tadvidaha, the one who knows that principle, that conscious principle, that person is called a wise person. So here is being same thing highlighted. Tad drishehe kaivalyam ityartha. So that is called kaivalya. So kaivalya means there is only one thing exists, kevala bhavam. So when there is one thing exists, that it means the person is abiding in one's own self. Only one thing exists, and that is in fact is called moksha. Now, if this is the case, now we need to understand what do you mean by this hana? Because this avidya is so strong, which we have discussed, tasya hetu avidya in Sutra number 24. Because first of all, this avidya is something not visible, and we need to, let us say, destroy this avidya. So how to do? So this technical word was being used, hana. So hana means, was very carefully, that whatever we have this avidya, because of avidya there is sanyoga, there is attachment. So when those attachments are destroyed, destruction of attachment that is caused or that comes out of ignorance is called hana sabda, the word we used very carefully, which we have discussed in details long back. Now he says beautifully that how to, or what is the upayam, what are the means, or what is the means, hana upaya kahaiti. So what could be the means to remove this sanyoga? Because remember, avidya is there, I don't have any problem. Food is not good, is not a problem. It's not tasty for me, or it creates a stomach pain, or it creates some, food poison is a problem for me. So avidya is there, I don't have any problem. Let it be there. But when I am attached because of avidya, and why also attachment is not a problem. Because anyway, today I am attached, tomorrow I will be detached. You understand? So attachment, detachment continues life. But the problem is, wherever and whenever there is attachment, there is sense of dependence. That's the problem. And further, the sense of dependence makes a person to be helpless. So these are the problems. Because avidya has no problem, including attachment has no problem, unless it develops sense of dependence. And once sense of dependence is being born, then we discover what? The stronger is the attachment, stronger is sense of dependence. The stronger is dependence, stronger it becomes what? Helplessness, sense of fear, sense of loss, sense of rejection. All problem comes. So he says, for this, to destroy this chain, the sutra says, Viveka khyati aviplava. So that means aviplava. So one should have aviplava viveka khyati. So what is this aviplava? So aviplava means Suddha ityartha, Nirmala ityartha. That means Sansaya Viparjaya Rahita Jnanam ityartha. So without any doubt, because we all have Viveka Khyati, Viveka Jnanam. Not that we don't have Viveka Jnanam, discriminative knowledge, especially when you go to shopping mall, you understand? Or why to go to shopping mall? There is Viveka. So now sales are going on. So what do you call? Summer sales, pre-summer sales. In Europe, pre-summer sales, okay? So in India, all the time sales, don't worry, okay? Factory sales, this sales, that sales, this festival sales, election sales nowadays started coming, okay? However, let us not get into too much. I saw one shop, renovation sales. What are the things they think? Okay, fine. So while going for shopping also, I use my Viveka. But this Viveka Khyati here is being highlighted. My Viveka fluctuates there. It's not that my Viveka is strong or permanent. Here we are talking about Aviplava Viveka Khyati, which is Suddha, which is pure, which is unadulterated. So what is this Suddha? Because a common Viveka that we have seen in Tattvabodha in details. So common Viveka is between two limited objects. So between this shirt, that shirt. Between this shirt, that pant. So between two limited objects, I have to choose something. And when I have to choose something between two limited objects, two limited things, definitely that Viveka will fluctuate, because whatever knowledge I may have will be inadequate. Is it clear? Always that knowledge has to be inadequate. If I buy a cloth, yes, I know what is the count, maybe I am smart enough. Then last moment I discover, it is not South Indian cotton, but it has come from somewhere, but branded by South India. So some way or other, I will discover that my knowledge was not adequate. That's why when you discover my knowledge is not adequate or was not adequate, you get frustrated. You, in fact, get into all sort of depressions or anger. How come I made this mistake? Why did I go wrong? How did it happen? So here is being highlighted that Viveka Khyati Aviplava related to what? This is the discriminative power between Nitya and Anitya Vastu. So between the eternal and ephemeral. So when between Nitya and Anitya Vastu, this Viveka Khyati that is being taught, definitely that has to be what? That has to be Aviplava ityartha. Because what happens if we try to understand also in the terms of gunas, let us look at. As we have discussed many times, that our thought and thinking process are connected to tamoguna, tamas guna, tamas. Please be very clear. If you are a man of thinking, basically you are a tamoguna fellow. Unless tamas, because that's why we have three shaktis: Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, and Jnana Shakti. So Ichha Shakti is connected to tamas. Kriya Shakti is connected to rajas. And Jnana Shakti is connected to sattva guna. And if the mind is engaged by Ichha Shakti predominantly, then what happens? That means tamoguna. That's why when you think a lot, you become very lazy. Your posture, your food habit, all this, junk food, everything comes. Oh, I am creative person. I am thinking to create. How you create? Yes, you keep thinking. Suddenly you stumble upon, as we have discussed, all the great discoveries. Was it thought over or it was just stumbled upon? You know better, Newton. What happened to him? Poor apple fell on his head. Steam engine. Duck. Archimedes, Eureka. So everything was just stumbled upon. You can look at yourself. Yes, to this thing to happen, you have to prepare mind. That means if sattva guna is predominant, automatically you will discover many things you will stumble upon. Whereas what we do, we give more importance present day to tamoguna. We keep thinking. That's why I always say, these HR people are full of tamoguna. And at least field workers are full of rajoguna, okay? They have to be in rajoguna, there is no choice for them. So what HR people do? Just justifying anything and everything. Delivers nothing, but they get the best share and best enjoyment, okay? Including sea trip. So what does it mean here is that one really has to be clear that when a person wants to have this viveka khyati, that to all biplava, this is the point. So in order to have Suddha, Nirmala, Viveka Khyati, one need to work towards Sattva Guna. So when the mind becomes more and more predominant, or it moves more and more towards Sattva Guna, automatically your Viveka Khyati will becoming abiplava. Will not fluctuate, it will become pure. How? You can see for yourself. As you know, the viveka that we use, the discrimination that we use, based on that our way of thinking, way of living, way of functioning, everything happens. Let us say a shopkeeper also uses viveka. Morning gets up to do this, not to do that. What to do, how to sell, how to make. Now the shopkeeper is always attached to what? Okay, instead of shopkeeper, better to give another example which will be easier to understand. Suppose you are trading. So online trading fellow. That's a very good example. So when you do this online trading, what happens to you? So even though you have decided I will trade only for 2 hours, 3 hours in a day, there are people in India, they do it, okay? Just 3-4 hours they do it, then after that it's stop. So they make some money, keep quiet. Now if the person keeps trading, what will happen? You just lot of viveka. In fact, only viveka, nothing else. Now, because the association with the so fast movement of the shares or whatever object, now the mind also becomes that fluctuate, that aggressive or not. Can you see how it works? Because mind has to be aggressive. If you don't have aggressive mind, you cannot do online trading. It is impossible. It cannot be a cup of tea of everyone. Whereas, when the same person, let us does the trading as an investment, I cannot say trading, is getting into the share market, whether it's a mutual fund or this or that. Now, there the mind becomes different. Can you see the difference now here? So, that means the way we are using viveka, the object that we choose, that we hold on through our viveka, now some type of gunas, qualities comes from that object. It is exactly like when a person sells fish. So whether you like it or not, if you start selling fish, not only your dress, your body also will start smelling. Even if you do wash, cleaning, whatever you do, still it will not go. If you start selling flower, definitely flower fragrance has to come in your body. This is the gross aspect. This is the external aspect. Same thing also internally that happens in the mind. So that's why here is being highlighted that viveka khyati or viplava. So it is my choice, it is my responsibility to use my viveka between nitya and anitya. So when more and more I focus on nitya, because earlier I was only focusing on, between anityas. Now what I need to do, 5 minutes in a day also let me use my viveka between nitya and anitya. And slowly keep increasing between nitya and anitya. Then what happens? When I am in anitya, I know what I am doing. Of course, in nitya, I don't have to say anything either. And more I am in nitya vastu, the more viveka becomes stronger. Tasya saptadha prapta bhumihi prajnaha. So here, it says beautifully, which I need to work on, because without studying properly, because I cannot say, to be very honest, because there are 7 types of bhumis, stages. And how this happens, I need to spend little time and get back to you. Because based on that, we call it as Jivan Mukti, Videha Mukti. And as per my knowledge, this explanation in details being given in Yoga Vasishtha. So Yoga Vasishtha would be, few chapters of Yoga Vasishtha can be the best explanation of this sutra. With this, today I am stopping the class.